Shalom, shalom, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Pulse of Israel here in our eternal and ancestral homeland, the land of Israel, in our beautiful, biblical, ancestral, and indivisible capital, Jerusalem, since King David's time. I am blessed to know so many good people, whether organizational leaders, political leaders, or lay leaders of the Jewish people who do so much for the Jewish people and the land of Israel. And today I'm going to be speaking with one friend of mine, Dan Kaskel, who also happens to be the head of a slate in the upcoming World Zionist Congress elections, and that is for the Herut North America Party slate. So let's bring on Dan. Shalom, shalom, Dan.
Hello, Mabi. Thank you so much for having me. It's an
It
honor.
is a pleasure. Listen, it's always wonderful seeing you when you come visit here in Israel. If I'm able to get a glimpse of you, if I'm in South Florida, that's also good. But it's wonderful to be able to have the opportunity to hear basically first your story before we get into the elections and why you're involved with Herut, why you so committed to the land of Israel and dedicating your personal time in your life also, which leads you to be involved with Herut for the World Zionist Congress.
Well, again, Avi, thank you so much. Yeah, unlike others that had the fortune of being born into an observant traditional home, my wife and I came from secular backgrounds, and ultimately we found Yiddishkeit through Chabad, as so many have. And over the years, we've built an appreciation, a love of Eretz Yisrael and all things Israel and Jewish and Zionism. And it's been a phenomenal journey the past 30 plus years getting to know and understand and appreciate and value our heritage, our roots, the meaning of the land of Israel. And every chance we get, we've seen you in Israel a number of times. Every chance we get, there were times when we went 2 or 3 times a year. Now that our kids are a little bit older, not as much, um, but annually, um, it's it's our home. God willing, soon we'll all be there. Um, but it's just something special and spiritual, and every Jew needs to have their own part, their own chelik, their own little piece of Israel, and understand and appreciate what it means to us. As you mentioned, it's been our since King David's time. It's been our eternal capital. Jerusalem has. So as we're gonna say in a week or so, next year, next year in Yerushalayim,
Right, at
um,
the Pesach Seder next year in
that
Jerusalem. And my prayer is that Jews actually mean it and just sing it and actually start doing something about it and don't just sing it.
yeah, I think we do. I really do think we mean it. I'm also fortunate to be president of the Boca Raton Synagogue, one of the I think North America's largest modern Orthodox synagogues. We have
Wow.
the place where Nefesh B'Nefesh was born.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Rabbi Josh Fass and a few others from our community founded it. I helped draft some legal documents. He told me what was going on. He still didn't fully appreciate it, but as a young attorney, I helped draft some documents that they were in need of.
Oh wow. And
Um,
and me and my wife and our son our 1-year-old son at the time, we were part of the first Nefesh B'Nefesh contingent back in 2002.
did you sign something saying if you went back to America, you would there's a certain stipend you would have to repay at some point, or
Whatever documents they gave us, we signed. But if it was that, I was not worried. I did not want to be in America. I knew I would be in Israel for good, no matter the challenges. We're going to be overcoming them and staying there. So, why, you wrote that document
yeah, I wrote a few of them. Who knew that was 20 plus years ago, 23 years
23
ago,
years ago?
the success, the impact it would have. It's incredible. Um, every so often I bump into Rabbi Fass. I saw him at a wedding. Oh, at Rav Judah's daughter's wedding, right?
Right.
And just great seeing him and all he's done and accomplished is just incredible. And we have this year from our community a number of families making Aliyah.
Including
That's
one of your
been
rabbis.
including one of our rabbis. Yes, Rabbi Josh
Rabbi
Brody.
Brody.
Yes. So we would love one day there to be only a handful of people remaining and everyone else making Aliyah. One day,
One day,
one day.
is
But it is,
God.
I think we say it and I think we do mean it.
So I want to go back to your personal story for a second, since it's so interesting that you mentioned that both you and your wife came from a secular background. What do you think is the secret sauce that you gave over to your children to be, I guess, not just committed Jews, but also committed and dedicated to and connected to the land of Israel? Because there many times there are children of families where their parents are Balei Tshuva, and they look back at their parents like, "Hey, you got to enjoy not having to follow all the commandments," and they're like, "Why do I have to do all this?" Like, what was like a secret of you and your wife?
I'll tell you this, it's the latter. It's my wife. I mean, I did the best I can. You know, I'm the one coming home 4 minutes before Shabbos, whether it's, the winter and Shabbos starts at 4:30 or the summer and Shabbos starts at 9 p.m. It always seems you know, but my wife has really, like, we owe a tremendous debt of gratitude to all of our wives. Um, Instilled just a love of Yiddishkeit, of Jewishness in our home. No one was ever, our kids were never pushed to do anything. It was out of fun and love and appreciation and enjoyment that we did everything we did, that we, instilled Jewish values. And from a relatively early age, middle school age, we took them to Israel once a year. And I think they absorbed an appreciation also for their own heritage, for what the importance of Eretz Yisrael, what it means to them, what it means to us as Am Yisrael.
Right.
And thank God it stuck. Right? Some doesn't stick for everyone, but for our kids, and they married both. We have two children. They married wonderful, wonderful people that also have a love of Yiddishkeit, of Judaism, of Eretz Yisrael, and we are beyond blessed.
That's wonderful. And I guess that's a wonderful segue into your involvement with Herut. So you want to give us an introduction of all the different organizations out there, especially those involved with the World Zionist Congress. Why did you decide to become active in Herut?
Avi, that's a great question, and it's startling how few American Jews.
Wait, time out, time out. Huh, huh. Still getting over a cold. Huh.
Oh no,
Huh. All right, take two.
you need
Guy,
some water.
Take two. You were saying that's a great
Oh,
question.
unfortunately, yes, great question, and it's startling. I was among the vast majority of American Jews that never heard of World Zionist Congress um, until 2019. I was revisiting Israel for Sukkot, and I received a phone call from a Facebook friend, Karma Feinstein Cohen, who is the executive director of Herut.
Right.
I guess she saw I probably posted something, maybe a picture of you, me, and Ben Goldstein or
Maybe.
something. Who knows what it was?
You should know I interviewed Karma before the last World
Yes,
Zionist Congress elections 5 years ago. Yes.
you did. When I told her that you and I are speaking, she did say, "Please say hello." And we had the same Karma, and you had the same conversation. 5 years ago.
Right.
But she reached out, and like everyone else, what is this exactly? And what is Herut? And we spoke, we met, we talked, and I joined Herut for the last 5 years ago for the World Zionist Congress. Now, Herut is small, and I'll tell you about Herut in a moment if I can. It's small. There are much, much larger, better financed, better funded, with more slates, parties with more financial resources and man and woman power. I kind of like Herut. It's a little smaller. It's has values that I think most American Jews, and this is an American election. This is, we are in
Right.
America to get 152 American delegates over to Israel for the 39th World Zionist Congress taking place at the end of October. Yeah, the end of October 2025. Most importantly, in case I forget to mention it later, every American should vote. Every American Jew should vote as long as they vote the right way. They should vote. But it's our opportunity as American Jews to participate, to have a voice in what happens not only in Israel, to a certain extent. It doesn't replace the Knesset, as you know, but significant Israeli organizations and policies and funding do get decided. And why wouldn't we want to have our say? We're a third of world Jewry.
Right.
But what and I was very involved in 2020 at the last election. I knew I probably wouldn't make it to the Congress unless a lot of people ahead of me on the slate weren't able to. But I still enjoyed participating, and I loved the historic part of it. So Herut, the Herut party was first formed by Menachem Begin. That was his first party.
Right.
Then he merged into Likud. In the 90s, his son Benny Begin and a few other MKs reestablished Herut. I think maybe for one term in the Knesset, perhaps two, but I think one. But since then, it's been a Zionist movement. It's been a youth movement from the 90s until now, active in more than 10 countries, um, Africa and Asia and Europe and North America and South America. And it's the Jabotinsky movement. So we follow the Jabotinsky form of revisionist Zionism, which a lot of the Israeli political leaders, grasp on to Jabotinsky, and everyone seems to be a follower of Jabotinsky, But
Right.
we
For
are the
those who don't know,
Jabotinsky.
the Likud party very much is based on the Jabotinsky ideology. Netanyahu himself is a student and follower of the Jabotinsky, much of his thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I think most of the right would agree also that in some capacity or other, they are following Jabotinsky's ideology. It's funny, back in his day, I mean, as you probably know, there was a time when he wasn't allowed back in Israel. Well,
Right.
because it was uh it was under the still under the mandate, yes. So and he passed away in New York. Um, but his philosophy and leadership is still it's even more so admired today. And Begin, his probably his most well-known disciple,
Right.
took 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 that with him.
Right. And
Um,
one of his security um concepts was the Iron Wall, in a sense, making sure Israel had extremely safe and secure borders, which is very much and protectable borders, very much something that Netanyahu has always followed, and unfortunately, the left for the past few decades went against.
the irony is that there's a perception that the right is hawkish. Um, but just because you believe in a strong defense doesn't mean that in any way whatsoever you're a hawkish. It was Begin that made a peace agreement with Egypt. Um, but they always believed, as did Jabotinsky, in a strong army. The better you can defend yourself, the less likely you are to be attacked.
Right.
Um, so it resonated with me. And also the other things that Herut stands for. First of all, getting involved in a now nearly 130-year-old Congress. As they say, it's the parliament of the Jewish people. It's an honor. It's our legacy. It's our inheritance. It's what established the state of Israel. Um, so I love the historic elements of it. I love the fact that it went from country to country now since 19, I guess 49, because there was a parliament, there was a Congress in 47. I think the next one's 49. They're meeting in Jerusalem in our and eternal capital. Um, so there's so many great things that can happen from the allocations, from the funding, from the programming that is established at the World Zionist Congress.
Right. Just let people understand there are billions and billions of dollars worth of funding that goes to programming in the Jewish world in Israel that is decided upon by the delegates of the different parties. So voting for the right parties makes a big difference. There are parties who, unfortunately, support funding not so supportive or pro-Israel programming with Jewish money. And then there are parties that are supportive of using much of this money to support all Jews in all of Israel, including Judea and Samaria, and including very unapologetic, proud Jewish educational programs. And it's about finding one of those parties, which Herut is one of, to vote for it to ensure all these most of this funding goes to those type of programming.
Yeah, we're proud. Like we call that, it's called the nationalist camp, the right wing. And again, right wing, there's a big, doesn't mean everyone in the right wing is far, far right. Like I'm sure not everyone in the left wing is far, far left, but we're part of the nationalist camp, which does promote the as Jabotinsky said, the only significance of the Jordan River is that it runs through the middle of Eretz Israel.
Right.
Um,
Both
so
sides of the Yarden, both sides of the Jordan River belong to the Jewish people.
yes, yes. So we are fully supportive of um, the entire sovereignty over Eretz Israel by Israel, infrastructure projects in Judea and Samaria. I know you live in Judea and Samaria. Our executive director lives in Judea and Samaria. We are and also programming in the Golan, anywhere needed in Eretz Israel, funding, we're to fortify and support and secure, we are fully, fully supportive. Um, I like to listen to what other slates are saying. I don't think there's a podcast that's available on YouTube or anywhere on the World Zionist Congress that I haven't heard at least part of.
Hmm.
And it's shocking hearing some slates, some parties that are participating in this Congress refer to Judea and Samaria as the occupied territories.
Yeah,
These are Jews. These are quote unquote Zionists.
yeah.
It
And that's why it's important for every Jew to vote for the right parties and to register to vote to ensure that those parties do not get enough votes to really have too much control over policy and funding.
Yeah, and we've had a few discussions like this with with Eretz HaKodesh, with ZOA, with Mizrahi, with Herut, and extremely aligned on. I can't think of what we're not entirely aligned on, but Herut is a non-religious party. We have people, me, modern Orthodox, quite a few. We have people with absolutely no religious affiliation whatsoever. What binds us all is our love of Eretz Israel, our love of Am Yisrael, our love of Zionism, and we see eye to eye, no matter where we may be politically in the U.S., but we are ardent, unapologetic Zionists that just want to see good things happen for, of course, Jews in Israel. But we are having significant issues in America as well. We do need help, and that's part of what WZO, what the World Zionist Organization, and its affiliated entities do, whether it's combating and sending shlichim to help us combat anti-Semitism on campuses, whether it's helping our few remaining precious Holocaust survivors. That's an important issue also that's not getting appropriate attention. By the time the next Zionist Congress happens 5 years from now, how many survivors will there be? Um, Israel has significant needs. What
Right.
Israeli is not affected in some capacity by this prolonged, protracted war that Israel is just not accustomed to for years to come, whether it's physical, mental, whatever support Israel and veterans and wounded veterans and orphans and widows need, we, the world Jewry, WZO, need to be there and help them in every possible way. um, Learning Hebrew. I want to be able to go, and every Jew should go online, no matter where you are in the world, be able to learn Hebrew the same way were able to learn Torah pretty much 24/6. It unites us, it binds us, it's our language. Um, Overseeing the anti-Israel bias and hatred at the UN, funding needs to go for UN oversight and condemnation when needed. It's a bastion of you okay, Avi? I know you just coming off from my yeah. Um, so there are so many things we can do. The use of the funds are more critical now than I can remember than what I've looked into since the formation of the state of Israel. I don't remember a time when a Congress was as important as it is today.
So let me ask you this question then, Dan. Why, give me your elevator pitch for why people should be one, everyone should register to vote, right? Everyone, if you're Jewish, register to vote. Why should they be voting Likud? Why should they be voting, sorry, take that out, edit it out. Why should they be voting,
Herut.
Herut, the Herut slate
Herut.
that you had?
Well, I will tell you something that's funny. Every half the slates that I hear, they say we're the only ones that are diverse. We're the only ones not affiliated with a political party in Israel. We're the only ones that are doing this. So there's 10 slates that they're the only ones doing the same thing. So I don't want to say in any capacity we're the only ones, but we are non-religious. We're not anti-religious by any means. We don't do things on Shabbat. We don't do any activity we have as kosher, but we're a non-sectarian, non-denominational party. Um, and we do follow the Jabotinsky philosophy. Um, we we're smaller. In other words, if you have an issue, you want to know what's going on, Google me, you find me, I'm the head of the slate. Google Karma Feinstein Cohen, executive director. You can reach out to her. We're easily accessible. We don't have we don't have the capacity. We don't have large galas. We don't have deep pockets, but we're roll up your sleeves, fighting for Israel every single day, unapologetic Zionists. We welcome everyone's contribution. We are extremely diverse. We have Jews from I can't think of a background that we don't have a Jew on in our slate, whether it's Jews of color, Sephardim, Ashkenazim, religious, non-religious, and everywhere in between. We are, I think, a reflection, a complexion of what American Jewry is. And this is, again, an American election. We would love to be America's voice along with the national camp at World Zionist Congress.
And are you able to tell us like some of the successes or programs that you were involved in the past 5 years and getting accomplished in the World Zionist Congress as part of the Herut party?
Sure, sure. And I do like to look forward because the next 5 years is different from the past 5 years. But one of the things we were successful in doing in 2024 was actually amending the Jerusalem program. So everyone who registers to vote, everyone who registers to be on a slate has to sign the Jerusalem program. Says what you think it should say. Israel is the homeland of the Jewish people. Hebrew is the language. Jerusalem is our undivided eternal capital. These are our Zionistic philosophies. We sponsored and got an amendment after 70 or so years of the 6 points of the Jerusalem program. The last one now, number 7, says something to the effect that the IDF is the supporter of of Zion, of Zion, and we do everything we can to support the IDF. And if you can't serve in the IDF, then national service. Um, Supporting the IDF and lone soldiers is top on our list, like it is for other slates too. I can't say we have a monopoly on that, but it's critically important to help protect um, and address the needs of those that have sacrificed so much for Eretz Israel. Um, so that one change, and someone asked me, why is it so important to have that one change? That one change, this is the whole this is the Zionist movement. This is our platform. This is World Zionist Organization's platform. This is our constitution. So that was important. We've supported another words matter. That WZO affiliates and slates don't use the term West Bank. They use Judea and Samaria, and that's been approved. And that's an initiative that we were heavily involved with. We've done a considerable amount and allocation towards Zionist youth programs. Our executive director serves as the chairwoman of the Youth Zionist Council. So educating our youth, critically important. Um, we'd like to see more high school in America, high school education, Jewish Zionist education for two reasons. One, to prepare those non-observant students that are going to secular colleges in America, which is the vast majority of Jews, prepare them for what they may encounter. But that's our next generation of Zionist leadership, and they need to be properly prepared and educated. And I think that they want to. So we have seminars frequently on educating as you get older, particularly, ninth through 12th graders. But we have programs on that type of education for critically important. Hebrew school shouldn't stop in America once you're bar bat mitzvah. It's a continuation and to instill a love of Yiddishkeit and Judaism and Eretz Yisrael and Zionism.
Right.
So those are some of the things that we've done. And but this Congress is particularly important. The first Congress since the 1700s, Jewish thinkers were trying to deal with the Jewish question. What do we do with Jews outside, it's most of the Jewish world that were then outside of Israel, um, facing discrimination, facing pogroms, facing all these challenges? 100 years later, Herzl had an idea. He said, you know something? It's getting too bad here. It's we need our own homeland in Eretz Yisrael. And that was the subject of the first World Zionist Congress until I want to say the 23rd one, 1947. The Jewish question will be answered with the formation of Eretz Yisrael, with Medinat Yisrael. So now we have a Jewish state. It's a Jewish question answered. After October 7th, if you don't know, that answer is still no. After the eruption of anti-Semitism beginning the evening of October 7th and October 8th and so on, that answer is still no. So we're still working that out. But it's more important now. We weren't discussing this 5 years ago. Yes, anti-Semitism was important, but it's grown geometrically. We need to address that, and we need to work as best we can to educate, protect ourselves, and keep on until it's eradicated, or at least controlled, and every Jew is protected and secure in Israel, outside of Israel, on the internet.
And I'm a big connecting a number of different things that you said. I'm a big believer that the best defense is a good offense, and that's by providing the tools and proper information to all Jews, and especially the youth, about the truth of their Jewish identity and the truth of our ancestral connection to our ancestral homeland that goes back thousands of years. So, regardless of what anti-Semitism they can come up against, it won't impact them. And instead of being scared of the anti-Semites will see proud Jews who they can't impact or budge. And yeah, there's a lot of work to do in the Jewish community to properly give over that information to as many adults and youth as possible, because it still is not being done correctly or well enough to help our youth.
They have to roll up our sleeves, uh, work with them when they're young, so they have an appreciation as they get older.
Right? 100%. So where do people sign up to vote?
Um, it's a simple Google search, but zionistelections.org is one of the places. Um, that's AZM. In America, each country does their own elections. Sometimes they're appointed. In America, the American Zionist Movement, AZM, oversees the election. And it's a $5 fee to vote. That's because there's also a third party that AZM uses to help monitor and oversee the elections. It's a big undertaking. Last year, there were 125,000 votes. Uh,
5 years ago, last election, right?
what did I say? What did I
Last year.
say? Oh, yeah, last election. This, we've already probably reached that number, and we still have about a month, about 3 more weeks to go on this election.
Right. The
So
election
by
ends, I think, in May 4th, if I'm not mistaken.
May 4th. So we may have 250,000, 300,000. Some far larger number than last year. And it's cheaper. Last year was 750. $7.50 this year. They were able to, but it's important. It's the best $5 investment that you'll make, having your voice heard, particularly when you vote Herut Slate 23, having your voice heard in the World Zionist Congress, just helping us fight and procure funds for the things that are important to American Jews, to Jews in Israel, to world Jewry.
Dan, thank you so much. May Hakadosh Baruch Hu, may God continue to bless you on all of your endeavors for your community, for the overall Jewish community of America and the global Jewish community, and look forward to seeing you in Israel.
Avi, you too, thank you so much, and Mazel Tov. You've had a lot of simchas and recently and in the near future. Mazel Tov on everything, and thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. It is my pleasure, Dan. Signing off, everybody, for another episode of the Pulse of Israel here in our eternal and ancestral homeland, the land of Israel, in our beautiful, biblical, ancestral, and indivisible capital, Jerusalem, since King David's time. If you are not yet a subscriber, what are you waiting for? You get a daily, belief-based, inspiring, politically incorrect understanding of what's going on with Israel, the Jewish people, and the freedom-loving world. Go to pulseofisrael.com and click to subscribe. And yes, we are a donor-based operation. Where else are you able to receive this information on a daily basis with this deep dive? It's thanks to your donations, large or small, that we're able to do this work. We're heavily censored across social media platforms. So every once in a while, just click on pulseofisrael.com on the donate button and give a little donation. Thank you, everyone, and thanks for watching. Shalom.
Pulse of Israel, frontline videos from the Holy Land. Support our work by donating today.